Warden Zixthara had overseen the Nexus containment facility for 47 standard cycles, and in all that time not a single prisoner had escaped. The facility floated in the void between galaxies, accessible only through heavily encrypted quantum tunnels. Its walls were forged from compressed neutronium, its cells monitored by AI systems that could predict escape attempts before the prisoners even thought of them. The prison housed the galaxy's most dangerous criminals: telepathic assassins from Proxima, reality benders from the void realms, and creatures that existed in 17 dimensions simultaneously. Each cell was custom designed to neutralize the specific abilities of its occupant. Then they brought in the human. Captain Marcus Chen had been convicted of 37 counts of impossible military victories against the hegemony's finest fleets. The prosecution claimed he had somehow manipulated probability itself, turning certain defeats into stunning triumphs. The evidence was undeniable. No conventional commander could have achieved what Chen had accomplished with inferior ships and smaller crews. Zixthara studied the creature through the containment field. Humans were a recent addition to galactic civilization, having achieved faster-than-light travel only 2 centuries ago. They were considered primitive by most standards. No natural telepathy, no ability to manipulate quantum fields, no extended lifespans. Yet somehow this unremarkable bipedal mammal had terrorized half the galaxy. Cell designation Omega-7, Zixthara announced to her staff. Full isolation protocols. Gravity manipulation disabled. Temporal flow locked. Quantum tunneling blocked. Nothing gets in or out without my personal authorization. The human said nothing as they sealed him inside the most secure cell ever constructed. He simply sat on the provided bench and smiled. For the first week, Chen did exactly what every prisoner did. He explored his cell, tested the walls, examined every surface for weaknesses. The AI monitoring system cataloged each action, predicting and countering potential escape vectors before they could develop. But something was wrong. The human's behavior didn't match any known escape pattern. Instead of growing frustrated or desperate, he seemed amused. He would stare at the walls for hours, occasionally chuckling to himself. Sometimes he would nod as if confirming something only he could understand. "Sir," Security Chief Vextar reported during the morning briefing, "the human has been examining the quantum lock mechanism. He's shown particular interest in the temporal stabilizers." Zixthara's mandibles clicked with concern.
Has he attempted to tamper with them?
"No, sir. He just watches them, and he's been doing something with his hands." Doing what? Vextar's translation matrix struggled with the concept. The closest equivalent would be counting, but not in any mathematical system we recognize. By the second week, other prisoners had begun to notice. The reality bender in cell Omega-5 reported strange dreams. The telepath in Omega-3 complained of cognitive interference whenever she tried to probe the human's mind. Most disturbing of all, the time-locked assassin in Omega-1, whose consciousness existed in a perpetual moment to prevent temporal manipulation, had somehow begun to age. "It's impossible," Dr. Catherine, the facility's chief scientist, insisted. "Humans have no supernatural abilities. They're baseline biological entities. They can't affect quantum fields, manipulate time, or alter probability." Zixthara stared at the surveillance feed. The human was standing in the center of his cell, arms spread wide, head tilted back. His mouth was moving, but the audio dampeners prevented any sound from escaping. "What is he doing?" "Sir," Vextar's voice carried an edge of panic. "The containment field around cell Omega-7 just fluctuated." "That's impossible. The field generators are—" Alarms began blaring throughout the facility. Red lights bathed the corridors as the AI announced, "Containment breach in Sector Omega. Repeat. Containment breach in Sector Omega." On the surveillance screen, they watched Chen walk calmly through what should have been an impenetrable energy barrier. He paused at the threshold of his cell, turned toward the camera, and winked. "Emergency lockdown," Zixthara commanded. "Seal all blast doors. Deploy security drones." But Chen was already moving. He strolled down the corridor with the casual confidence of someone taking a pleasant walk. Blast doors slammed shut in front of him, and somehow opened again moments later. Security drones swooped down from the ceiling, their weapons charging, and inexplicably powered down before they could fire. "How is he doing this?" Dr. Catherine demanded. The answer came from an unexpected source. "Dr. Yithara, A quantum physicist who had been studying human psychology as a hobby spoke up from her workstation. "I've been reviewing the human's behavioral patterns. I think I understand." "Explain." "Humans don't manipulate probability," she said, her voice filled with a mixture of terror and admiration. "They ignore it." The statement hung in the air like a physical presence. "Impossible," Catherine snapped. "Physical laws don't work that way." "For us, no. But humans evolved differently. Their brains developed something we never did, the ability to believe in things that contradict observable reality. They call it hope. They call it faith. They call it determination. And somehow, when they believe strongly enough in something," she gestured at the screen, where Chen had reached the main security hub. The door, locked with quantum encryption that would take a supercomputer 1,000 years to crack, simply opened at his approach. Reality accommodates them. Chen appeared in the doorway of the control room. The security teams raised their weapons, but the energy cells were mysteriously depleted. The automated defenses powered down for routine maintenance that wasn't scheduled for another decade. "Hello," Chen said pleasantly. "I don't suppose anyone knows the way to the shuttle bay." Zixathera found herself pointing down the corridor. She couldn't have explained why if her life depended on it. "Much appreciated." Chen started to leave, then paused. "Oh, and you might want to upgrade your security system. I've been planning this escape since day one, and honestly, it was easier than I expected." As he walked away, whistling what sounded like an ancient human melody, Dr. Yathara whispered, "He planned this. All of it. He studied our technology, learned our limitations, and simply decided they didn't apply to him. But that's not how the universe works." Chen's laughter echoed through the facility as he reached the shuttle bay. Moments later, they watched on external sensors as a maintenance pod, which should have required 3 different authorization codes and a quantum key, simply undocked and flew away into the void. The last transmission they received was Chen's voice, still chuckling. "Thanks for the hospitality. Same time next week?" Zixathera stared at her monitors in stunned silence. In 47 years of operation, the Nexus containment facility had never experienced a single escape. Now she would have to explain to the Galactic Council how a human had walked out laughing, not because he had overcome their security systems, but because he had simply refused to believe they could hold him. In the end, that was the most terrifying thing about humans. They didn't just break the rules. They laughed while doing it.